Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to the Monday night. It means it's the Red Light Scrambler series, and they are in the playoffs. This is opening round here of round 2 for the chase. 8 drivers have qualified their way in, and it's going to be Richmond here and again next weekend, and we're going to cut them down to 4 and then run them one more time for a championship. But first, these drivers have to get through the Richmond Raceway here. It's a 7/10 of a mile little track, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. But as always, here on Monday night with the Red Light Scramblers, it's Muth up here in the booth. We got a little bit of a special guest here tonight, Michael Bromley from Bromley Designs, stopping by, giving us a little bit maybe of a driver's perspective of things. Mike, I know you've been here watching these guys out here in practice for at least the last 35 minutes here, as there's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left here in practice. What have you noticed with this high horsepower, low downforce package here at this short track?
Yeah, Roger, it looks like tires is going to be the name of the game, kind of like every short track. We're going to see who can conserve and who can really put it down when they need to. It's gonna be a big strategy run, I think. I think we're going to have a long green flag run, though.
Yeah, long green flag runs are something that really runs along here with the Red Light Scrambler series. And you talked about long runs. Well, let's look at a couple of these drivers that had some really good long runs and some of these guys who didn't last very long in the playoffs here. This is how your point standings all come in. Your top 8 locked in a dead heat, 2,000 points. You see the cutoff line there. The 8th place driver is Michael Trevarthen, but he has no less points than the man up on top of the scoring pylon, if you want to call it, here in the point standings, and that is Tim Blum. So your drivers here in round number 2, Tim Blum, Sean Butler, Todd Cray, James Heater, Eric Johnson, Richard Murdoch, Max Terriel, and Michael Trevarthen. Trevarthen is the only rookie left in your points hunt here to crown himself a champion. If he can make it to the final race of the season, he'll have to go through Richmond. Your rest of your top 10 point standings, drivers, actually your top 12 who just missed out on advancing to the next round. It would be James Skelton after getting nose damage at Miami. And then it's Justin Gann, Ira Kohlhaas, and Ryan O'Danny. All 4 of those drivers not making it here to Richmond. They're in the race tonight, unfortunately not moving on to the next round. They will still battle it out, though, to see who can be the first driver inside the top 10. Right now it's Skelton and Gann inside the top 10. Kohlhaas and O'Danny, 11th and 12th. 13th is Joshua Buckley, Kyle Souza, Joe Strano, Tony Strano. That's going to be the battle we're going to keep an eye on because they are locked dead even. So the Strano brothers, 15th and 16th in your points coming into tonight. Ethan Troutman is 17th. Dustin Gainey is sitting there 18th. Nathan looking for more power, Maurer. He is there in the 19th spot. DJ Anderson rounds out your top 20 points, and that's how they come into tonight. Mike, it's going to be all about who can survive here tonight and try and lock themselves in with a win. If not, a good solid top 5 could point your way in next week.
Yeah, definitely. Short track racing is always fun, too, because it allows the drivers to take a couple extra risks than they would if it was a heavy aero reliant track, like a mile and a half or longer. So, you could see some bump and runs in the corners when it comes down to grind time, and your car's not going to run worse than the guy in front of you with a little bit of nose damage. So it'll be interesting to see who brings a little bit of aggressiveness and who decides to play the safe route.
Yeah, right now it's safe to say Sean Butler is going to win our practice session here as you see the yellow lights come on. That means it's going to be time for qualifying here. A good lap in qualifying always going to start you near the front of the field, and right now it's going to be, it looks like 22 drivers to battle it out for P number 1. 10 minutes, 2 laps are going to be on the board. The green flag is officially waving. No driver here in the first 20 seconds has taken to the track. Who will be the first one? It looks like it'll be the driver of that 33. It's the Dirty Mo Radio number 33 Chevrolet, driven by Eric Johnson. Johnson was in the hunt to try and make it into the point standings. He is in the point standings. I was meaning in a hunt for a couple wins this season, just unfortunately not able to park that Chevrolet in victory lane. Possibly could be tonight here from the Richmond Raceway. He is officially on the clock here now with 9 minutes left to go. Looks like along on track with him will be the 22 of Todd Cray out there. It looks like the Fox by Christopher 22 will be the first one to lay down a timed lap here. His first timed lap, it looks like, will be a 20.79. Good enough out of the 3 drivers as lap number 2, as you see him slide out of turn 2, will be negated. It will no longer be a second lap for Todd Cray. So it'll be a one and done for the 22, and it looks like Eric Johnson also going to go one and done style here tonight. He's going to leave the track here with a 20.850. The bucked-up Chevrolet driver, the 929 of Ira Kohlhaas, is out here on track, and, well, he just missed advancing into the next round of the playoffs by a slim margin of 8 points, and now he's out here to try and snatch a little redemption here. So he is 4th quickest out of the 4 drivers who have laid down a lap here. It looks like Cameron Hearn and Ira Kohlhaas to be a one-and-done factor here also. So he will sit 4th on the boards. Looks like the 25, though, or actually that's the 35 actually on our timing and scoring number, a little bit off from the timing and scoring. That'll be the 35 here of Cameron Hearn. We haven't seen Hearn more than a handful of times this season, but every time we do see that Gamecocks car, it is up towards the front of the field. Last week's winner, though, the 88 is Sean Butler, as Cameron Hearn goes to the top of the boards there with a 20.732. Butler won last week at Homestead in the truck. Said he was not a fan of the tire model on the truck, so he was going to be happy to head off that horsepower package that they had there in the trucks and the aero, wobbles that you had down the straightaway, and it'll actually go right to P number 2 here in qualifying. Remember, race fans, he did have the quick time in practice, but he's going to go around doing a little bit of celebrating out of turn number 2, so it'll be 2nd quickest there for the driver of the 88.
Always a good time when you can win on a track that you're not a fan of with the tire model, you know?
Yeah, especially on a track like Homestead. I think you raced there just a couple weeks ago, and just down the straightaways, it's just something that it's bizarre. The cars and the trucks, they sway now down the straightaway, and it's just not really that fun to drive. Max Terriot, though, in that 42, he goes P4, lap number 1.
Yeah, it's anybody who's done iRacing in the past and thinks that they still know it. With all the updates, it's like a whole new simulator. They have really gone into detail with the weather and everything.
Yeah, the weather, the tires, even the heat that's built up in the track, as Max Terriot goes a little bit slower on lap number 2, so it'll still be 4th quickest for him. Michael Trevarthen is out here in a brand new Eagle 1 paint scheme on the 931 Ford here tonight, as this is coming off turn 4, I believe this is the green flag lap here for the Eagle 1 Ford Mustang here tonight. And, well, Mike, there's not only, what we just talked about coming into the sim. Tomorrow, another big bombshell out of the iRacing, out of the, I believe it's the Connecticut area. I just saw a press release today. AI will now be coming to iRacing onto the oval side of things with Daytona and Talladega. So that's going to be a lot of, new things. And there's also going to be some little fast updates to the tire model. A lot of these guys that wanted to see it fixed and tweaked a little bit for stability, they will get their wishes granted tomorrow as Michael Trevarthen goes P number 8.
Yeah, really excited to see how that AI is on an oval. I know on a road course there are things you can plan for, but especially a super speedway oval, it's going to be fun to see what they put in there and see what happens.
Trevarthen a little bit slower, lap number 2, so he'll go with 8 quickest right now. Kyle Souza just comes across the line there in the number 4. And it looks like he moves up a little bit. 2nd lap quicker for the driver of this number 4. It'll be 13th quickest for the time. James Heater is out here in his 18 Mountain Dew machine. Is that a Mountain Dew car? I'm not quite sure, but he is out here. He is 6th quickest on the board. And, well, he needs to try and find a little bit more speed out of that car to break into the top 5. I don't believe it's going to come here, as he has already used up his 2 laps here in the first 10 minutes.
Low-line racing, that's what that is. Low-line racing.
Well, maybe we'll see him around the low line here from Richmond. So right now, 15 drivers out of the 22 drivers, I believe, in the lobby have taken a qualifying time. Right now, Cameron Hearn, who is not usually out there on track with these gentlemen, he is your quick time for the time being. There are still some drivers out there that could come out here and snag the pole away. Tim Blum, you see him, he's just doing a couple pit runs right now in this classic hot sauce number 10.
Yeah, when you have extra time and you've already completed your laps, I always like to take a couple extra laps. That way, kind of gets me feeling what it's going to be like at the beginning of the race, because the tire, or as the tires wear into the track and rubber gets transferred over to the surface, you have a different feel to the car as it takes off and enters the turn. So the closer you can get to race time, the more accurate it's going to be for how it is in race time conditions. So I think he's doing a little bit of a mock green flag drop here.
Yeah, and that's not always a bad thing to do either. You never know if the tires were going to spin right now. Tim Blum, though, shown as the fourth quickest, as it looks like a couple other drivers might be starting to take to the track here to try to lay down a timed lap. But as Tim Blum comes into this chase, last week he finished fourth from the Miami Homestead Speedway, finished eighth back at Five Flags after leading 131 laps. Unfortunately, just was not able to close the door with a late race caution. Back at Bristol, though, he finished second. It was a 7th place finish back at Charlotte, and then it was a 23rd place finish at Dover, one of his worst races. But things here towards the end of the season have been starting to look up. Another driver out there on track, his first year with the Red Light Scrambler Series. It'll be the 971 out of Pennsylvania. It'll be Nathan Maurer in his Copenhagen Chevrolet. And right now, 15th quickest on lap number 1. It was a 21.130. It's a respectable lap time, but it's the 15th quickest lap time. Where will he go? Lap number 2 officially going to count here in the books. It's a little bit quicker, and it will not jump him up, though, any farther on the timing and scoring. It'll be the 15th quickest time for the 971 of Nathan Maurer as you see him finish his qualifying attempt. So right now, it looks like we're still looking for times out of the number 2 of Joshua Buckley. The 184, the Aussie of Kevin O'Brien, Jack Walls in the 83, the 11 of Leo Bordage, the 62 of Ethan Troutman, and the 1 of Ron Hollyfield. Right now, Hollyfield is sitting down on the grid, waiting for the clock to kind of tick down here. Right now has an all-gray car on the screen for us. But as we wait for Ron to make a qualifying attempt, we're going to step away real quick here from the Richmond Raceway. We're going to get that national anthem played, and we'll be right back here to take you to the grid for the opening round here, or the opening race of round number 2.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And welcome back, race fans. Qualifying officially in the books here for round number 2, race number 1. And starting on the front row here tonight, grabbing the pole, his first pole of the season, will be the driver of the 35 of Cameron Hearn. So congratulations to Cameron on snagging the pole here tonight. Let's take you through a quick walk here for your starting lineup. This is how they will roll off the grid here tonight for 175 laps. Row number 1 going to look like this. It'll be the 35 of Cameron Hearn. Outside of him, last week's winner, the man, the 88 is Sean Butler in his Mountain Dew machine. Row number 2, it'll be the 22, the clock's by Christopher Todd Cray. Starting next to him, it'll be the number 10 here of Tim Blum and his classic hot sauce forward tonight. Row number 3, it'll be the 42, it'll be the man Max Terrion. And how about the James Heater Lowline Racing number 18 Toyota? Row 4 is going to start with a couple heavy punchers here in the chase. It'll be the 33 Dirty Mo Radio, Eric Johnson. To his outside, it's usually the 931, the Fram Machine, but tonight it's the 931 Eagle 1 Ford Mustang for Michael Trevarthen. Row number 5, it'll be the Iron Bird Brew Co. 01 of Richard Murdoch with the tick-tock. It's the clocks by Christopher 72 of David Camara. Row 6, it'll look like this. It'll be the ever wild driver there, the 86 of James Skellen. And right alongside James Skellen, it'll be the 43 of Joe Strano. Row 7 here tonight, it'll be the number 4 of Kyle Souza and the 3 of Tony Strano. Row 8, it's the Pennsylvania Copenhagen Machine, the 971 of Nathan, I'm looking for more power, Maurer. And then right alongside him, it's the all-bucked-up Chevrolet driver, Ira Kohlhaas, missing the cut here to advance into this round of the playoffs. Row number 9, it'll be the 83. It's the man that we love to see. It is Jack Walls, and he'll start right next door to the 62 of Ethan Troutman. Row number 9, this week it has the, I believe it's the Miller Genuine Draft number 2 of Josh Buckley, and the number 11 of Leo Bordage. Row 11 here tonight, it'll be the man from Australia. It's the 184 of Kevin O'Brien, and it's the number 1 of Ron Hollyfield. And that actually is your 11-row field here tonight. 22 drivers going to do battle. It's going to be 175 laps. Mike, I am pumped up here as they come through turns 3 and 4.
Most definitely lights out on the pace car, so they are going to go, and it is going to be loud.
Yeah, several of these drivers looking for the loud pedal here as the iRacing pace car ducks off the track. We are officially green flag racing here at the Richmond Raceway. Put 175 laps on the board. Cameron Hearn going to get a great start there with the 35 machine as Sean Butler falls right in line. A little bit of a bottleneck behind them, though, for that 4th position. It's the 22 of Cray to the inside, and it's the 18 of Heater as they race down into turn number 3 for the first time. But out of turn number 4, it'll be the 35 of Hearn leading lap number 1 here tonight.
Yeah, everybody's starting to single file out, taking their time. You can tell that they're paying attention to their pre-race meeting and wanting to run a clean long run here, going 1 by 1 instead of 2 by 2.
Yeah, a couple guys towards mid-pack, though, have a little bit of a battle going on right now. That's David Camara in the 72 machine. He is to the outside here, and that looks like that's the Slim Jim machine of Skelton because Murdoch just worked around the inside there to take the 9th position. Now Skelton going to try and battle underneath. That clock's by Christopher, 72. Oh, a big wiggle out of the 72 there, Camara, though. Camara is slipping backwards, another slide out of turn number 4 as they come across the start-finish line just like that. 3 laps in the books here tonight. And now it looks like that 72 clocks by Christopher machine will go single file. You got to go all the way back here. I believe that's Troutman who's stuck to the outside right now. And Hollyfield, this Smith & Weston machine, going to take over that 20th position. And I think, if you look close enough, I think Troutman has some rear-end damage on that 62 South Point Camaro.
Yeah, I think I saw during the grid there was a little bit of a stack up. So I don't know if that was under green flag or if it was under caution, but I'm sure he wasn't too thrilled about that.
Yeah, Ethan Troutman, one of those guys that always finds his way to the front with his South Point Casino. We saw him spin out a couple times back at the Charlotte Roval and still work his way back up to a very solid finish there. But tonight, it's going to be a long haul back to the front. Right now, he is buried, absolutely buried back in the 21st position as everybody is still single-filed out as they work out of turn 4. It'll still be the 35 of Hearn, Butler, Blum, Cray, and Heater, your top 5 here after 5 laps.
Yeah, right now is about the sweet spot for the tires. They start coming in, you start to get more confident, you get in your groove. So look for some people to start trying to make some moves here in the middle of the pack where they're bunched up a little bit.
Yeah, right now, though, nobody pushing the envelope here too early. They know Muth up here in the booth has a brand new PC over here ready to get fired up right after this race. We're going to start digging into that one, but that is not where we're at tonight. Right now, tonight, we're watching the 10 here of Tim Blum as he got a little bit sideways there out of turn number 2, right in front of the 22 of Todd Cray. And as that all goes on, James Heater starts to chip away at the little bit of a gap that they had. So it's 4th, 5th, and 6th right now. Your closest drivers out there on track. So let's find out where is everybody out there running outside the top 5 race fans. Well, if you're a Max Terriot fan, he is cruising right now, just kind of hovering right around that 6th position. And right behind him, it's Michael Trevarthen in 7th. Eric Johnson in his Dirty Mo Chevrolet is 8th. And then you got the Murdoch. And I know you weren't in the pre-race little room there, Mike, but there were some notes that were passed around. And Tony Strano right now, who runs back, I believe it's in the 14th spot, was talking about Richard Murdoch in the Chevrolet. Said lap 1, turn 1, Richard was going to spin out. Well, race fans, we can pass along the report that that didn't happen. Murdoch still sitting inside the top 10. Also got passed along a note. Sean Butler said lap 1, turn 4 for Murdoch. Well, we can also tell you that that didn't work out because Richard Murdoch's still out there tearing up the track, and he's now caught that 33 of Eric Johnson, and he's going to be peeking to the inside down here in turn number 1. Can he take away the 8th position from Eric Johnson and move himself up a little bit closer to the front of the field here tonight?
Yeah, you got a really good drive there on the turn 2. Let's see what he can do coming into 3 if he can complete the pass.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just my screen here. Maybe you can verify for us, Mike. Does that front right of that Iron Bird Bruco 01 machine look a little bent up just a tad? Maybe it's just the shine off that front right fender.
Might just be the spec map that we're running here, but I can't tell. I don't see any damage, but if it is damage, it's not holding him up as he makes a pretty clean pass there.
Yeah, well, he moves up to the 8th spot. Here comes David Camara. He goes right underneath that 33 of Eric Johnson, and now here comes the 86, James Skelton. Also trying to bring his Slim Jim machine to the top 10 for the first time here tonight. He'll stick the nose coming out of turn number 2. He will now officially be inside the top 10. So James Skelton bringing that Toyota Corolla or Camry or whatever it is. Somebody scraped the wall. I think that was Michael Trevarthen coming out of turn 4. We saw the sparks fly from the turn 4 camera. Looking at it, the Eagle 1 car, though, looks pretty clean, and it's still rolling the center of the corner pretty well. Maybe just iRacing playing a little bit of a joke on us. We've seen that a handful of times here.
Net code. It's always the net code.
That's always got to be net code. Right now, though, Cameron Hearn has pulled out to about an 0.8 of a second lead over the 88 of Sean Butler. And then it's a second back till you can find Tim Blum, who runs right in front of the 22 of Todd Cray and James Heater. They are all still within about a half second of each other back here for the 3rd, 4th, and the 5th position. They are your closest inside the top 5 to each other, but right now the closest drivers on track, you'd have to go back here to Joe Strano. Strano actually on the move up inside the top 15 right now as he rides around here with his Victory Junction 43 machine in the 12th spot.
Yeah, it starts to make me wonder if the 33 there of Eric Johnson is conserving tires, maybe realizing that this has a very real possibility of being a full run on this fuel tank and on these tires, and maybe he's saving something for later, but he is hemorrhaging spots right now.
Yeah, hemorrhaging spots and possibly only able to go right around the 50 lap marker on fuel. We'll have to see what kind of strategy Eric Johnson will play. Remember, he is in the chase. He came in, he was your 7th place driver technically. By the way, all the points kind of folded on down through the system here when it all got inputted. And right now, he is your lowest driver running inside your chase. So he's going to have to step up the power behind that car here tonight because Sean Butler is running 2nd. Todd Cray is running 4th. James Heater is running in the 5th spot. Richard Murdoch is running now in the 8th spot. Patrick Orr, but I'm not actually seeing Patrick Orr, and there's a correction there. Patrick Orr actually not taking his position into the chase because of a work schedule, so clerical error here on our part here in the statistics department. But Max Terriot is running there 6th, so everybody right now is officially running in front of this 33 of Eric Johnson as Michael Trevarthen is 7th.
Yeah, I remember watching the 33 of Eric Johnson run at Five Flags, which it's a different kind of track, but, you know, short track racing. And he did conserve a lot, and towards the end of the race, he had a clean car that was able to come up through the field there. So I'm not going to fall asleep on the 33. I think he's just got his strategy, and he's sticking to it. I'm sure his crew chief is happy in his ear right now.
Yeah, right now all 4 fenders look good on the Dirty Mo Radio 33. There with Eric Johnson as he runs back in the 11th spot. He's found a little bit of a home right now in front of Tony Strano, Kyle Souza, and Joe Strano and Tony Strano right there, and Nathan Maurer also right there in this little bit of a, we're calling about a 5-car pack.
Right. Like you said, though, that's the closest racing we've got out here. Everybody else is pretty well single filed out, strung out there, just along for the ride in this early part of the race.
A little bit of a blink there, I believe, by the 86 there of James Skellin. He finds his way back on track, though, but he is back there in the 10th position, right behind David Camara. Now your leader, though, here of Cameron Hearn has officially started to open up the gap just a little bit here on lap 24. It is now officially a 1-second gap back to that man there. You see the green Mountain Dew machine. That is Sean Butler, and he is sitting 1 second back behind our leader of Cameron Hearn. Another second back behind him, you're going to find that 10 there of Tim Blum. There you see your leaders working up upon lap traffic. I believe that'll be Kevin O'Brien that your leaders are working on. There is that monster Chevrolet, the 184 from Australia of Kevin O'Brien. Right now a little bit off the pace, and I'm not sure. I believe Kevin was having pedal problems a couple weeks ago. Not sure if the driver of this 184 has got that figured out, but looking at the speeds down into turn 1, it looks like about a 30-mile-an-hour difference right now between your leader of Hearn, who is a little bit sideways with the rear end of that Gamecocks car, and O'Brien. As O'Brien's going to move to the outside, he's going to allow Cameron to go roll the bottom lane, and he'll come out of turn 4. And now officially, Kevin O'Brien is the first car here from the Richmond Raceway, 1 lap down.
This is where all of the nice things you've done all season as a front runner kind of add up for you. Now that you're in the hunt, you're in the second round of the playoffs, and you're wanting to win. That way you can secure your spot in the championship 4. And you've kind of been a little rough with some of these guys who, I'm not going to say aren't at the front, but you know, they're used to being a lap car or whatever. They can get their revenge on a leader just as well as a leader can get their revenge on them. So this is where being nice pays off.
Yeah, right now it was nice to be Sean Butler because he worked around that lap down car of Kevin O'Brien pretty quick. And now Hearn and Butler will try and pull away from Blum just a little bit. That gap has started to open up between Butler and Blum. Now it's a little over a second, almost a second and a half between second and third on the racetrack.
And Butler getting it down to below a second between him and the first place car, Cameron Hearn, 35 there. So maybe he saved up and he's going to be able to put something out here towards the end of this run.
Yeah, we're going to call about the second half of this run as we're working lap number 30 here on this fuel and tire run. So possibly about 20-ish, give or take, laps away from the first green flag pit stops of the night. I'm sure a lot of these drivers are talking strategy with their crews right now. You know, do I want to dial a little more front brake in it? Do I want to dial a little more rear? Do I need a little more turn? You know, in the center of the corner, you're probably going to dial that brake bias towards the rear. And right now, though, Tim Blum is fading once again off the back bumper there of that 88. Now it's up to definitely a second and a half gap between them. James Heater now looking to the inside here on Kevin O'Brien down into turn number 1. He will look to take that spot, and he will set sail out of turn number 2.
Yeah, the 4 of Kyle Souza has passed the 43 of Joe Strano and is pressuring the 33 of Eric Johnson back here, poking his nose to the inside, maybe wanting to make a couple moves to try and get to the top 10. Maybe he feels like he's got the faster car and he wants to get up there and he wants his name on the tower.
Yeah, and just what I'm looking at, just paging through the time and scoring notes that are popping up here from iRacing, and it looks like the 43 of Joe Strano has started to fall through the field just a little bit. Remember, he was in front of the 4 of Kyle Souza. Now he is back to the 13th position, and he has fallen off by about a second off the back bumper of that number 4 machine now. So he and Maurer and the other Strano right now are running right there all together for the 13th, 14th, and 15th position respectively on track.
Yeah, just as you said that, the 43 kind of gravitated up towards the wall coming out of turn 2, so maybe he is tightening up the tires a little bit, making a call to the crew chief. saying that his car's a little tight because I don't think he's getting the drive off of turn 2 that he wants.
So we'll have to keep an eye on that here for Joe Strano as Nathan Maurer starts to close the gap on him here tonight.
It's always easier too driving out of turn 4 because you have that gradual D here at Richmond, and then in turn 2 it's a little bit more of an abrupt turn, so you have to kind of get on it and hit that apex just right, or else you're not going to be able to carry speed through turn 2. So turn 2 is definitely going to be a make or break point for a lot of people, that and the entry of turn 3.
Yeah, you see your leader there on Hearn, though, staying really far down the track, not using all the racing surface to the outside there on turn number 2. But I have just noticed in the last lap, it looks like Sean Butler has picked up the throttle, and now he is back to within a half second here of your leader here on this long run. It looks like Sean Butler is starting to reel back in Cameron Hearn for the lead, so it's going to be a 2-horse race at the front of this. The Toyota for the 35 of Hearn and the 88 Chevrolet here for Butler. On lap 39, going to be in the books here in just a second. 39 laps have been led here by Cameron Hearn in the early going, but now the wick is starting to be turned up just a little bit here by Sean Butler.
Yeah, that second place position is almost an advantage over being the leader because you're pressuring the leader at this point. You're hoping he's checking his rear view. He wants to see where you're at. He wants to see what line you're running. Get in his head and hopefully make him either make a mistake upon entry or miss one of his marks going in, and you try to capitalize every chance you can. Every minor mistake is another tenth off, you know?
Yeah, and just as we talk about Butler getting that lead cut down to about a half a second, he slips up a little bit. Last time by Cameron Hearn was the quickest car on track, and once again, Cameron actually, as Tim Blum comes across the line, he will throw down the quickest lap time for the last lap, as he was quicker by about a 1/1000th of a second, just about actually, and so he will continue to start to claw his way back into this battle. Right now, though, he is 2 seconds behind the leader of Hearn, last time by at the line. 2 cars, though, right now on the back of the field here, looking for, I'm going to say a caution flag possibly. Jack Walls in the 83 Pennzoil Chevrolet and the Chevrolet Smith & Wesson driver, the number 1, Ron Hollyfield, right now are starting to slip back into the clutches right there as you look off the driver's side rear camera that we have mounted on the number 1 here of Hollyfield. You can see your leader of Hearn back there about a straightaway. The back straightaway is all that separates the 21st position from going a lap down here. And we're only 44 laps into this one. And that shows you how fast Cameron Hearn and Sean Butler and Tim Blum are starting to make their way around this little 7/10 of a mile track.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I have no shame in admitting that I'm used to seeing those leaders in the rearview mirror.
And here's a green flag pit stop, Mike. Somebody calling to the pits here just a little bit early. And somebody who's not afraid to risk it to get the biscuit. Here comes the driver of the number 1. And that is going to be the driver of the 42. It's Max Terrill and his Ford. He'll come to a complete stop here on pit road as you see the right side tires going up. He is the first driver down pit road, and he will drag along a couple other drivers. Here comes the number 4, Kyle Souza. He will also come down pit road. So 2 drivers here in the early going, pitting before everybody else. Maybe they know something here, Mike, that we just do not know.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good if you're going to make an aggressive move, like an early pit, especially here on a short track. You got to commit. You got to not miss pit entry, which didn't happen, and you have to be the first one to do it. That's your only chance of making moves. Otherwise, everybody's going to be on the same cycle, and it's going to be very hard to capitalize on anything. Right now, you've got the leaders thinking, why are they pitting? What am I missing? And that's when mistakes happen, is when you start thinking. Yeah,
big wiggle by the 35 of Hearn there off of turn number 2. Possibly be looking for Hearn to be making his green flag pit stop in just a couple of laps. His spotter on the radio saying a couple more for us here. Big man, you're doing just fine out front. Butler has backed her off. He is about 2 seconds behind now off Cameron Hearn. Is he trying to stretch the fuel just a little bit farther here tonight? It's 175 laps here from the Richmond Raceway, and right now, Hearn has dominated this early stage of the race, but how far can he stretch the fuel, and how far will the tires take that Gamecocks 20 or 35? I want to say 25 because every time the camera pans by, I see 25. Another driver down pit road. It'll be the 971 of Maurer. His stop is done with his Copenhagen Chevrolet. He'll rejoin the racing surface. Schoen, though, 2 laps down, so going down pit road will net you 2 laps behind.
Yeah, well, maybe not. I think he was already a lap down because the 42 is only showing 1 lap down for me. Him and Kevin O'Brien both in the 184 are showing 1 lap down. So I know I'm going to mess. I'm sorry. 42's last name, Thoreau? Sorry.
Trevarthen, as it looks like the one of Hollyfield missed pit road and up the track. The Smith & Weston driver went. He'll go a lap down, but we were looking for Michael Trevarthen there, I believe you were talking about, in the Eagle 1 931 machine.
I believe so. We got another driver down, Kamara, the 72. He's on pit road. I think this is when you're going to see everybody making moves as pit road becomes a popular place.
Yeah, your leader, though, not going to be coming down pit road. He continues to stay out there on track and lead the way. His lead is now up to about 3.5 seconds over that 88 there of Sean Butler. So a handful of your leaders have opened up a huge gap. Your top 3 have about an 8.5 second gap over the 931 of Michael Trevarthen. And I believe here comes your leader down pit road, Cameron Hearn, going to pit out of the lead here on lap 53 tonight as he brings that Gamecocks Toyota down pit road.
Yep. So it's pretty safe to say that 53 is going to be his sweet spot because if you're running out front, you kind of try to get in your groove. So we'll see. We'll see if he can get out and maintain the lead after this cycle's over.
Yeah, my question was going to be, now that the 35 of Hearn did come down pit road, would Butler follow him in the 88 Mountain Dew machine? The answer to that, race fans, is absolutely not. Sean Butler now leads the way, but he still has yet to make his first pit stop here of the night. So it is Butler and Blum, Trevarthen, Skelton, Kohlhaas right now, your top 5. As here comes the 10 of Tim Blum as he turns off the banking there off turn number 4. He will bring the Classics Hot Sauce machine down pit road.
Yeah, not the hardest pit road entry here, but coming down off of that banking, it always is a little bit of a shock to a driver. Now, what these drivers who are delaying their pit as long as possible are hoping for is somebody comes out on fresh tires, and it's very easy to loop it, especially on a short track when you've got all that power behind the wheel, and you get a little bit too anxious on the tires and you throw the back end around. So looks like the 929 of Ira Kohlhaas is going to come in here and grab 4 in fuel.
So now that'll leave Butler. Butler is sideways trying to get all he can out of his Goodyear Eagles before he comes down pit road. So sideways for your leader of Sean Butler here on lap 57. He stretches it farther than anybody else. Right now it's showing that Kevin O'Brien is still out there on track, but he was a lap down when Sean Butler brings that Mountain Dew machine down for service. So it looks like things may turn back over here to the 35 of Hearn, but we'll wait to check the timing and score. We'll let everything cycle back through for you before we give you the official word here after the first round of the green flag pit stops here tonight from Richmond Raceway. It's been all green flag racing here. It's round 2, race 1 here of your playoffs, and Cameron Hearn will officially go back to the lead here after everything cycles through. So this is how the timing and scoring is telling us things are going to look. It's going to be the 35 of Hearn back out front, where he has led 52 laps here tonight. And it looks like Max Terriel going to jump a bunch of positions. But remember, he has, it looks like, 10 lap older tires on that 42 machine. So Max Terriel running in the second position.
Right,
Todd?
and he was our first one on pit road. So that just shows that your strategy, as long as you commit to it, can benefit you.
Yeah, and another one that's benefited was Todd Cray. He followed your leader of Hearn down pit road, though, and he now runs in the 3rd spot. James Heater is running a little bit farther back, about 5 seconds behind your leader in the number 18 here for Heater, and that'd be the 4th position. Just behind them, another one of those guys that short pitted and gained about, I'm looking at it, I think it's about 9 positions. That'd be the number 4 here of Kyle Souza. He picks up into the 5th spot, and then behind him by 2 seconds, it'll be the driver of that Eagle 1 Ford Mustang. It'll be the Michael Trevarthen 931 machine. And then look how far back Sean Butler has fallen. He is in the 7th spot, 10 seconds behind Hearn. So goes into the pits when the pit cycle started, about 3 seconds behind Cameron Hearn. Hearn pits, Butler stays out for about 5 more laps, and he falls to this 7th position. He may have the freshest tires, but we'll see if he can chew into it, about a 10-second gap. As you see a big slide off 4 for him, that's not going to help him. Trevarthen going to allow the 88. He knows he's faster. He'll go by. He'll take the 6th spot. So 6th now for Butler, 7th for Trevarthen. And how about Murdoch? Murdoch is now running inside the top 10. He is 8th with his Iron Bird brewing machine. Right behind him, it's the Slim Jim man of James Skelton. Now back into the top 10 officially here after the green flag pit cycle. All cycles back through. And that'll be Eric Johnson. So that is how your top 10 drivers look here on lap 63 after green flag pit stops. And it is all Cameron Hearn out front here.
Yeah, start to wonder if maybe the 88 had a little bit of damage that he got some optional repairs on, decided to fix it, maybe got into the wall somewhere, or something might have been going on, or overdrive your pit stall, because when you see a difference like that happen, and it's not like he had a terrible pit entrance, he got a little sideways, but it makes you wonder what happened on pit road.
Yeah, something definitely had to have happened because I'm looking at the timing and scoring line here. It took, well, your leader of Cameron Hearn, who was one of your first ones down pit road here out of your lead cars. It was 39.1 seconds from commitment cone to the exit cone for the driver of the 35. Sean Butler a little bit slower. Listen to how slow this was. It was a 42.9 second stop from cone to cone for the driver of the 88. So right there, you're losing valuable track time. It may say, we're rounded to about a 3-second deficit on pit road, but 3 seconds on pit road equals probably up to about 5 seconds out there on track, and that's exactly why we're seeing right now Butler back 8 seconds behind your leader. As actually there's a change for the lead as Terrill takes the lead here. I'm not sure what happened to Cameron Hearn, but I can tell you that Max Terrill is now the leader by about 5-6 car lengths now, and the 10 of Tim Blum is 2 laps down. It looks like a speeding penalty just coming across the desk here for the 10 of Tim Blum. He had to sit in pit road for a substantial time, 54 seconds in his pit box after a 4-tire stop.
Yeah, it's the minor mistakes, too. They'll get you for 2 miles over. You look down, and all of a sudden you're speeding, so that happens to everybody. But it's early enough in the race, you never know. Those 2 laps can easily come back to you.
Yeah, now as he gets around your leader there with Max Terrill, that will put the 10 of Tim Blum only 1 lap down, but he is still shown back in your 21st position. We still have 22 drivers out there on track. Right now, only 15 drivers are still on the lead lap. And there you see the 83, Jack Walls. He is your 15th place driver right now. Maurer, who is just ahead of him in his Copenhagen machine, he is sitting 14th. So both those drivers, you can see the leader right back there. There is that black 42 out of turn number 2 as here comes Walls. He knows that the leader is coming. He knows he has to go, and he has to go right now. So he'll turn under Maurer. Remember, Maurer was the first driver, actually the second driver, because Souza, who has actually just got passed for that 6th position by Butler. Butler back into the top 5, but he still sits 6.5 seconds behind your leader. So Souza back to the 6th position now in the number 4 machine.
And the 22 of Todd Gray making a pass on Cameron Hearn also. So maybe some trouble in the 35 there.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at the Gamecocks car. I'm not seeing really any damage done to that machine, but it could be something underlying. You never know. You over-rev, you miss a shift. It also could be maybe he knows that Sean Butler was saving there on that first run. That's why he stayed out a little bit longer. Cameron may know something that it doesn't mean, he has to go out there and lead every lap here on the 175 tonight. Maybe he'll back it off here just a little bit, and he'll try and cruise as here comes the 18 of James Heater. He will now take away that 3rd position. That will put Hearn back to now the 4th spot.
Yeah, just watching the leader here for the last few laps, he is consistently getting those left tires down onto the yellow line on the inside. He is running a consistent line, and he is continuing to build his gap on the 2nd place car of the 22 of Todd Cray. So he is in the groove right now, so he is hitting his marks.
Yeah, he's definitely hitting his marks. He's one of the smarter drivers out there. I don't want to say one of the smarter. I guess that's the wrong terminology technically, but he is one of those drivers that he will save his tires and he will just try and make consistent lap times. Right now, he was not the quickest car on track last time by. That was the 22 of Todd Cray, who now breaks it under a second as he runs in the 2nd spot. But, Max will always save his stuff to be there at the end. One of the more conservative drivers, I guess, really what we're trying to say here.
Yeah, Daryl's probably like, all right, Bromley, enough talking about me with the commentator curse, because Todd Cray seems like a man possessed now as he cuts another tenth off of that.
Yeah, Todd Cray, not a man who's, a stranger to the front of the field here. This year, he has 2 top wins, 4 top 5s, 9 top 10s, an average finishing position this season, just this season here with the Red Light Scrambler Series, has been a consistent 9th place finish. He's had a couple bad ones over there, Daytona, but we all know Daytona, that's a complete crapshoot. You never know what you're going to get. Even Michael Bromley could possibly win there. And then he had a little bit of a rough stint from Homestead, a 23rd place finish there from the Miami Homestead Speedway. So a couple bad runs, but a lot of them, first from 5 flags, 6th at Bristol, a 5th at Charlotte, an 8th at Dover, a 6th at Chicagoland, a 9th at the Roval, a 3rd back all the way from Gateway, an 8th at Auto Club, and he won the season opener from the Kansas Speedway. And right now he is running down your leader here, Max Terriot, trying to lock himself into round number, into the final round, I guess we should really say, into the championship here. That will come in 2 weeks from the Rockingham short track, I guess you really want to call it.
Yeah, I like to call that a beast of its own. You know how I feel about that bumpy track.
It's a very similar track here to Richmond, but it is a little bit higher banked and very, very bumpy. We're going to take the Xfinity cars there in 2 weeks' time on February the 17th. It's President's Day, and I guess you can just call me the president right now, but you can tell Todd Cray that he is the man on the mission, because now he's officially only 2 car lengths behind that 42 of Max Terriot. So here on lap 81, it is a 2-horse race, and James Heater actually has started to close the gap yet there, so it could possibly be a 3-car battle as Max Terriot going to slide the tires out of turn number 2, and that will allow Todd Cray to close the gap within about a car length and a half now.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier, those little mistakes that the second place car can force a leader into just by having a presence there. So we'll see how it keeps going.
Yeah, Max, one of those drivers that doesn't normally crack under pressure, but Todd Cray, one of those drivers that will pressure you into making the mistake. The clock's by Christopher Machine now is officially there, 1 car length back. Every lap he gets a little bit closer, a little bit bigger in the mirror for that 42. What will he do down here in turn number 1? He's got a good run coming. Look at him. He drives a little bit higher. He's going to try and dive in the corner off to get a good run down the backstretch. Terriot going to slide the tires once again out of turn number 2, but Todd Cray not able to do anything with that machine here.
Looks like the 4 of Kyle Souza down on pit road. He had a 40-lap run is what I'm showing. So he's short pitting here. Could have gotten a few more laps out of his tires and fuel.
Yeah, I think he was the first driver down pit road before, and that played off big dividends for himself. So he'll drop the jack. It looks like that is a 4-tire stop there. 14.7 seconds in his pit box for the 4 there of Souza. That number 4 Ford will rejoin the track after spending 40.5 seconds down on pit road. He is officially 2 laps down right now, running in the 21st position. We'll see where he cycles back through once everybody else decides to come back down pit road here, and possibly looking at about 15 laps, possibly here for your leader of Max Terriot, who is now the leader. It looks like another guy coming down pit road, I believe, is going to be Jack Walls in the 83 machine. He'll bring his Pennzoil Chevrolet down pit road.
Yep, the one thing that's proving maybe to some of these drivers about the short pit is Terriot came in 7 laps before the 22 of Todd Cray, and he is still able to hold them off here during these runs. So it makes you wonder, how important are those last 7 laps of tires? Is it something that is worth staying out there and potentially losing 3/10, 4/10 of a second to some fresh tires?
Well, I can tell you that Sean Butler, remember, he stayed out the longest out of your top group, and he's all the way back to the 4th position now. He's still 4.5 seconds off the front 2 there of Terriot and Cray. But you know what I just realized on timing and scoring? Look where the 35 here of Cameron Hearn is. He has now dropped from the lead to almost 5 seconds back, running in the 5th spot. So I don't know if he's saving fuel that hard or that much, or if the handling on this Gamecocks car has just absolutely gone away.
Yeah, we're hitting the halfway point right now, so maybe he's trying to stretch it so that way it's only 1 more stop after here, but I don't think you're going to be able to stretch your fuel strategy to have only this next stop left.
Well, it's been a good first half of the race here as we are officially at the halfway point in this one. So, Bromley, what do you say, my friend, as Max Terrialt's coming down pit road? We just go ahead and crack one open here and say we made it to the halfway point tonight. And, well, who's going to win this one? It's going to be a toss-up because now Todd Cray is out front. Josh Buckley in the number 2 goes a lap down here in his Miller Genuine Draft Machine. It looks like he's been into the outside wall once.
That always hurts me as a painter. Every time I see a scrape on the car, I'm like, well, I guess it keeps me employed, but I like the cars looking pretty.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate night here for Josh Buckley. Now finds himself running in the 11th spot, 1 lap down, and he might not be the lucky dog for very long. The Coca-Cola number 3 here, and it is bright out there tonight. I think I can see my bald head reflection in that car, and that's Tony Strano. He is now officially the last car on the lead lap, as right behind him you see the 1 lap down, number 4 there, of Kyle Souza. So everybody here on varying strategies. Richard Murdoch is bringing his machine down. There is heavy right front damage to the Iron Bird Bruco 01 machine as he will come into the pit road, and it will definitely be a 4-tire stop here for Murdoch, and Todd Cray continues to pace the field here on lap 93.
Yeah, it'll be interesting here. Under caution, getting those repairs taken care of, it's not that bad because you're not going to fall back behind. You're not going to get lapped. Here, taking those optional repairs definitely hurt you. So it looks like he doesn't take all of his optional repairs. I'm showing that he spent... Oh, he's bouncing around on my relative. He spent 14 seconds in his pit stall, so...
Yeah, solid stop by him right there, but Todd Cray will pit here on lap 94 out of the lead, so that'll turn things over to James Heater, and Heater's going to bring the low line racing Toyota right down behind him, and so that'll turn things back over to these 2 drivers who find themselves in reverse order. Cameron Hearn now running the longest that he has run. Remember, he short pitted on his first stint. He now is shown in the 2nd spot. Sean Butler takes back over the lead here once again. Hearn, remember, led the first 60 laps and a couple there after the green flag pit cycle. And then has fallen back through the field. He found Sean Butler. Maybe he just knows. Sean Butler knows the strategy. Butler was out there, I heard, with his team before the race. As you see, I believe that was Nathan Maurer coming out of pit road there in his 971. But Butler knows the strategy probably better than a lot of these drivers out there on track.
Yeah, I mean, I start to think, too, maybe he just was wanting to make up that ground coming out of the pits and might have just drove the tires off a little bit too early, and he felt the car getting away from him and decided it was time to save quite a bit to kind of hit an equilibrium there on the wear to run ratio.
An equilibrium. I like it. But hey, Butler's still out there. That'll be 41 laps on his tires. It'll be 45 laps now on the tires for the 35 here of Cameron Hearn. Looks like we're still waiting on the top 11 drivers to make a pit stop along with the number 10 of Blum. An update on Blum, he has still shown 1 lap down, but he is nearing probably in the next 10 laps a pit stop for the driver of this classic hot sauce number 10. And right now, nobody right now is down pit road, and that correction, here comes Nathan Maurer. Maurer actually is coming to pit road. That last car I called that was Maurer. That was actually David Camaro, who come out of pit road 3 laps ago. The Clock Spike Christopher driver finds himself running in the 19th spot right now, 2 laps down. But that will change once everything cycles back through.
Yeah, definitely. This is where I can speak from experience. These guys that are holding out, trying to stretch this run as long as possible, are praying. Let's see a caution. Let's trap everybody a lap down. If I can't trap them a lap down and they'll take their wave around, that's fine. But if you look at that lap down list, there are a lot of people who still have not pitted on there. So this would be a very inopportune time for the field to have a caution.
Yeah, and I'm doing the math in my head. We know sometimes we know sometimes it takes a little bit of momentum for the gerbil to actually start clicking around in there. But Sean Butler could possibly make this run here last another 5 to 7 laps and then come down pit road. He'll only have to pit one more time. A couple of these guys like James Heater, Jack Walls, Kyle Souza, Max Terriel, they might have to pit 2 times yet before this one is up. So the strategies are abroad for sure here tonight from the Richmond Raceway. And I'm going to knock on wood here, Mike. I'm going to say it's 73 laps to go here from the Richmond Raceway. And we've been, so far, green flag racing.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get. Oh, as you say that, the 25 gets up into the, or I'm sorry, the 35. Yep, got me too. Of Cameron Hearn gets up into the wall, so maybe he's a little tight on exit there, getting up north side of the track. So we'll see if he decides if that's a wake up call to come down pit road, as he's hitting 51 laps this time.
Yeah, to be 51 laps this time for the Gamecocks Toyota. As Butler slips out of turn 2. He might have just grazed the wall just a little bit there. We'll have to see what all happens here. Both your leaders, though, going to stay out. It looks like James Skelton would be the next driver by. And actually, Michael Trevarthen is in there with that brand new silver car. Threw me for a loop every time you see a new paint job out there on track. And, Mike, I know you like to do that to me all the time. But Trevarthen sneaking in here in the 3rd spot. These guys all on that long run strategy. But as this all plays out, it looks like Max Terriol in this 42 car, he is trying to unlap himself the old-fashioned way. He has 15, now 16 laps on his tires, I believe. 15 laps on his tires as he is now going around Cameron Hearn for that, well, I want to say the 2nd position, but he is now going around the 2nd place car as the next driver in front of him. It'll be the Chevrolet Mountain Dew machine of Sean Butler, and then he will be officially back onto the lead lap. The question is, though, how hard is the 42 here of Max Terriol really pushing the tires on that machine? As you see Butler go to the high side, he knows he's a little bit slower right now on this long run.
Yeah, he's laying down some fast times. That last lap was a 21.35, so he is putting out some fast times. But like you said, gotta be smart here. You can unlap yourself, yeah, but you don't want to kill the tires at the beginning just to do that. Especially when the leaders all have to pit. Everybody who's on the lead lap hasn't pit, with the exception of now Terriol.
Terriol running there in the 6th spot. So it's Butler, Hearn, Trevarthen, Skelton, Strano. Tony Strano runs in the 5th spot. We are awaiting the Strano machine here any lap now. As you see him going into turn number 1, he gets passed up by the 72 of Clocks by Christopher machine there of David Camara. Camara is right now shown 1 lap down in the 15th spot. Here comes the 3 of Tony Strano. He will bring the Coca-Cola machine down to pit road as it's a very ginger entry here for Tony Strano. He is way down off the base, down to the inside. Doesn't want a speeding penalty here tonight. He knows he has a pretty solid strategy running here with this Chevrolet. And right now, he will bring it down pit road. He will go 1 lap down to Sean Butler, but we are waiting for Butler here to eventually make his way down pit road as Cameron Hearn has started to claw back in here on the leader.
Both the Strano brothers hit the pit road at the same time. I wonder if that's a little strategy.
Well, you never know what is going on right now between the Strano brothers. Right there, you see him on pit road, the 3 of Tony and the 43 of Joe. Well, I can tell you that Tony's probably the smarter one. Actually, funny story here, Mike. I shipped something out to Joe over the weekend, and he officially got it this morning from the postman. And he never checked the mail, and it's still sitting there in his mailbox as of the start of this race. So, definitely not the smartest cookie. But down pit road, here comes Michael Trevarthen.
So that was a 56-lap run there for the 931 at Trevarthen. Now, we were talking about if the 35 of Cameron Hearn was conserving out there. He is about to hit 60 laps on this run. So this is showing you that these cars do have the potential for a 60-lap run and still maintaining some speed. So maybe he was conserving and we were just... I don't know. That's a lot of conservation at the beginning, though. But maybe that's his strategy.
Yeah, you never know, and, well, the world may never know how many loops it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop either, but what we can tell you right now is that's the 10 of Tim Blum trying to unlap himself here, as he will, well, not unlap himself, but he'll now put himself back down to 2 laps down here, running in the 18th position. The longer the race runs here, Tim Blum continues to try and pick off a couple more positions. Right now, running the final car on the track would be the number 2 of Joshua Buckley. He is right now 5 laps down and getting passed along the word here from the wire. As you see, I believe that's Ira Kohlhaas coming down pit road, that Josh Buckley had a speeding penalty, and it looks like here comes Cameron Hearn also down pit road in the 35 machine.
Well, also the 86 of James Skelton, I saw him stop on my relative positioning. He ended up hitting the water barrels entering pit road, so he is having front end damage on that 86 machine. So let's see how that affects him. The first car that we could see with significant front end damage, so we'll see how that affects him on his speed here, as he stopped on the exit of pit road, and I think he got towed back to his pit and he is out of his car.
Well, that is unfortunate for the driver of that 86 of James Skelton in his Slim Jim machine. The other unfortunate thing for James Skelton is, he did miss this second round here of the playoffs by just a handful of points. So he will now be the first one officially out of the car, at least. He is back in the garage here tonight. Sean Butler, though, still continuing to turn laps. This will be coming to get 60 laps on his tires. How many more can he push it? Because Max Terriol, who is in a heated battle back here, he is the second place car on track, and I'm just looking at things. Max Terriol's going to obtain the lead here once everything all cycles back through, and it's going to be Terriol and Cray, and then it'll be Heater. All three of these drivers are together on track. They are back onto the lead lap, but I'm looking at it right now. Cameron Hearn is shown a lap down here after his green flag pit cycle.
Yep. Well, makes sense. People are spending about 40 seconds on pit road, and it's about a 22-second if you're going real slow around the track. So you're going to end up losing that lap, but I think once everything cycles back around, you'll see everybody. I think we'll have about 8 cars on the lead lap, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 10.
Yeah, and Sean Butler takes her to the pit road, so it'll be 4 fresh tires and fuel for the driver of the 88 Mountain Dew machine, and now it's the battle for the lead. It officially will change back over here to Max Terriol, Todd Cray, James Heater, and they have about an 11-second lead over your 4th place driver of Eric Johnson, and they are putting down some lap times. Todd Cray was the fastest by 0.2 of a second last time by on the racetrack, and he has 4 lap fresher tires than that 42 there, Max Terriol, who leads the field here on lap 121.
The 88 of Sean Butler still on pit road.
Yeah, it looks like he is in the car. I'm getting passed along. That is another speeding penalty here on entry for the driver of the 88 is Sean Butler. So now that will move him all the way down to possibly running just inside the top 20 here, as that is an unfortunate way to have your night here from the short track of Richmond go. He is now officially back up to speed and on the track for the 88 of Sean Butler, and race fans, he is 2 laps down, now shown 18th on track. He's got about 11 seconds before he could possibly find the next guy that is on his lap, and that'll be the 43 of Joe Strano. See if he can run down Strano for that 18th position here. And we only got 53 laps to go. I believe Todd Cray will be getting the 52 laps to go as he took the lead there, moved Max Terriol up the track just a little bit. So now it's Todd Cray, James Heater, and Max Terriol, your front drivers here, all within 1 second of each other. Near the ending here for this race, this is officially 52 laps to go here from the Richmond Raceway.
And we talk about strategy, and some of the people watching might not 100% understand what we mean here. If we compare the 4 of Kyle Souza, who pitted first on that last run, to the 88 of Sean Butler, who was the last one to come in, Kyle Souza has been running on his current tires on this new run, we'll put new in air quotes, for 42 laps. And Sean Butler is now putting his 4th lap on his new set of tires. So there's a 38 lap difference in idea of when the right time is to pit. That is what is amazing about short track racing. A 3/4 mile track, and you can come in early, you can come in late, and still have a chance to get the checker. That is short track racing. That is what makes it great.
And you talk about it, and here he comes with 50 laps to go. He officially knows he is inside his fuel window here tonight. He could make it from this point on. A lot of these drivers still waiting to tick off a couple laps here on the ticker before they will make their final pit stop. But here comes Kyle Souza. It will be the final time Kyle Souza comes down pit road, and it's a nice slow entry for the driver of that number 4. Right side tires officially going on. He will be going a lap down, but it looks like Todd Cray. Something happened to Todd Cray. He is off the pace, and he will actually be bringing the Infinite Hero Clocks by Christopher machine down pit road here with 49 laps to go. That turns things over for the first time here to James Heater.
Yeah, don't be surprised, though, if this is a planned stop here, because I've always preferred the end of the run tires to the beginning of the run tires. So if you could come in, get your pit stop done out of the way early, then you don't have to worry about making that mistake later in the run.
Yeah, but right now, James Heater still paces the field here. Todd Cray will go 1 lap down. He's still sitting in his pit box. It was very slow down pit road for the 22 of Todd Cray. Not sure if he hit the kill switch on that car, and if it's fired right now, Jack should be dropping, and the car is still sitting there in its pit box. Something has gone awry in the sim rig. There it is. Finally, after 20 seconds down pit road in his box, 47 seconds from end to end on pit road. Todd Cray drops the jack, and he's going to try and beat your leader down the backstretch. He will not. He will go 2 laps down to James Heater, and now he falls farther behind the field than what he wanted to. It'll be 45 laps to go this time by for James Heater, and now here comes that 22 machine. He will now go back to down just 1 lap, but he will be shown way down the timing and scoring. It will be way back in the 14th spot. Good news, though, for Todd Cray. He came down first, and nobody else is coming down pit road here. It looks like Murdoch finally will bring the 01 machine down pit road. But now, Todd Cray has all that time to try and make up the ground here, and Murdoch's going to be on that same strategy.
Periel, too, coming down in the 42. So I think everybody taking a page out of everybody's book here. Yeah, we can go 60 if we want to, but I can still be going fast at 45. So split this second run. As you can see, they're coming in here. Terriel hitting 43 laps on that last run with 44 to go.
And here comes James Heater right away, too.
Yep. Everybody's going to want the equal tires. The later in the race you wait to pit, the more pressure you're putting on yourself to be mistake-free. Right now, if you have 40 laps to go and you make a mistake on pit road, you have to throw the car in reverse a little bit. You overdrive your pit stall. You underdrive your pit stall. You can recover from that little error now. When you only have 15, 10 laps to go in the race, it is much harder to recover from a mistake.
Well, we see a mistake by Sean Butler. Here comes Eric Johnson down after taking the lead. He didn't get credited with a lap led. We'll see if he's able to scoot back to the start-finish line before Michael Trevarthen comes along here and snags a lap led. Let's see, as Michael Trevarthen will take over the lead. He will officially lead his first lap here with 42 laps to go here from the Richmond Raceway, and the laps are starting to click off. You talk about you make a mistake now, you might have time to claw back into it. Right now, though, Sean Butler is shaking his head at you going, I don't know what I got to do. Right now, I'm in the 17th spot. I'm not the lucky dog, and I'm just continuing to bleed right now on track as he is shown 1 lap down in the 17th spot.
Right. And as we get to the end of the race, people like to take more risks. That's when you'll see people, they'll force the envelope more. They'll put the nose in there and say, hey, I'm here, I'm going to take this spot. And you'll see the bump and runs happen. And that's when you see, unfortunately, sometimes the yellows come out, which for these guys who are a lap down but still inside the fuel window, maybe they don't go and get fresh tires. They take the wave around, start at the back of the lead pack, and they're like, let's see if I can ride this out.
Yeah, and Hollyfield says that's enough. He brings down the Smith & Wesson #1 Chevrolet to pit road, but Michael Trevarthen in his Eagle 1 Ford says not just yet. He has only been out there for 25 laps. He could possibly, doing the math, he could possibly sneak one out here. I'm not sure it's the strategy that he thought he would be playing here at the end of this one. As you see, Borage coming down pit road on the number 11 machine. That'll take him out of the 7th spot, 1 lap down right now on track. But Trevarthen, theoretically there, Mike, he could actually make this one.
Yeah, there is definitely a chance.
7 seconds behind Trevarthen, though, would be that 35 there of Hearn. Remember, he was on that strategy with the 88 of Sean Butler, who's buried back in traffic now. So Hearn, we know, can make it the rest of the way. He is 4 laps fresher tires, but he is 7.2 seconds behind your leader here tonight. James Heater has your freshest tires out of your top 5. But it's a 15.5 second gap. I mean, that is, I'm looking at, that's about a half a second a lap you're going to have to tick off here tonight to make it, as here comes the 2 of Buckley down pit road.
I think Cameron Hearn, depending on how he drives, could be about 3 laps to the good. But Trevarthen, I'm not sure he's going to be able to make it. We got 35 to go. He's just now hitting lap 30 of his run. He's going to have to go into serious conservation mode, and he has the time to do it with the 7-second gap on the second-place car, Cameron Hearn. But it's a lot easier to say I'm going to conserve while I'm in the lead than to actually do it.
Yeah, you know, we always want as drivers want to put the pedal down and never lift it. But, I mean, the question is, how far do you want to push it? Michael Trevarthen could lock himself into the championship round from the Rockingham Speedway if he wins here tonight from Richmond. And then he does not have to go next week into ISM and worry about that 1 mile track, as we know anything can happen there, especially out of turn number 4. It gets very narrow from ISM next week, and it could wad up a bunch of cars. So coming out of here as a chase contender with a win and locking yourself in, you would not have to worry. Cameron Hearn, though, I'm looking at the timing and scoring, he has started to back it off. He was about a half second slower last time by than your leader, Michael Trevarthen.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the timing and scoring here, and it looks like our closest competitors are the 18 of James Heater and the 42 of Terriel, and they're both about the same on tires too. And there's looking like a 3-second gap between them.
Yeah, I think the difference between the 18 of Heater and the 42 right now of Terriot was the way that Terriot came down pit road. Remember, he was very conservative coming down to pit road, exited out of into turn number 3, and rode the apron all the way around. James Heater did not do that. James Heater rode it right off turn 4, right into pit road. Call that a good hot pit there from James Heater, because now he has 2.5 seconds over Max Terriot here as we close in on 29 laps to go here. As you see that 18 work around the 62 there. Not a battle for position, but that will move Troutman back to the 17th spot. And Troutman has just been trying to tread water all night long in the 62 machine. It has not been his night here. Now he's noticed a little bit of right front damage on this South Point Casino. It has just been a rough sledding for Ethan Troutman.
Yeah, seeing a little bit of a bump on a lot of the people's bumpers, whether it's front or back. So it's usually on the right-hand side here at these short tracks as you're trying to get off of the turns and get back onto the loud pedal, and you kind of drift up the track, and that's when you're easy into the wall. So I don't know.
It's definitely a challenge out there. And right now, James Heater, who runs a little over 10 seconds back, has caught Cameron Hearn. We know Heater is good on fuel. Now the question is, now that James Heater has caught the second place runner here with Cameron Hearn, how hard will Cameron Hearn go from here to the end of the race? It'll be 26 laps to go next time by for these drivers here. Trevarthen now could really go into conserve mode because he has a 10-second lead just about over Cameron Hearn and James Heater.
Yeah, this is where if I'm the crew chief of that 931, I remind him, hey, we have got a 10-second lead, like you said. We are cutting it close on fuel. I need you to clutch it. I need you to do what you need to do to save as much fuel as possible here. And this is where having a clutch on your... This is why I say have a clutch pedal on your rig, because you can clutch it and save fuel here.
Yeah, well, while we're getting the 25 to go marker here from the flag man, and the spotters relaying all those messages, let's take a ride here around the Richmond Raceway with your leader of Michael Trevarthen and hear those throttle pickups. And there you heard it, race fans, as we rode on board there for about 3 laps with your leader of Michael Trevarthen. And race fans, he is not trying to save fuel at all out there. You saw the dash light up red, but something I have noticed that is lighting up red in the mirror, well, it may not be so much red, but it's definitely green, as Cameron Hearn was into the outside wall out of turn number 2. But it is James Heater, and he is coming in a hurry, Mike. He is now down to a 4-second deficit between him and Trevarthen.
Yeah, and he keeps just taken away. That time he was 6/10 of a second. I'm sorry, 5.5 tenths of a second faster than the leader of the 931 Trevarthen. So he's also got, and Trevarthen looks like he's ducking it into pit road right here.
So your leader here of Michael Trevarthen not going to be able to make it. That'll turn things over here to James Heater. Trevarthen not saving enough fuel here on the final run of the race. The pit strategy was not to do. He was looking for a yellow flag. Not going to get it. Not going to risk it any further than he has to here. So James Heater, Cameron Hearn, Max Terriot will be your top 3 drivers, and they are all within 3 seconds of each other. Right now, Cameron Hearn has the oldest tires. He's been out there for 43 laps compared to James Heater and Max Terriot, who are pretty much identical on those tire strategies. Right now, Heater, though, is going to run away and try and hide from these two back here that are going to be battling for that second position before we're done here tonight. It's going to be 17 laps to go. Heater now leads another one here at Richmond.
Yeah, and I know that he's thinking in his head, how great is it going to be for me to come in and steal one from these chase drivers? Actually, James Heater's in the chase. What am I saying?
Yeah,
I'm thinking of Hearn sitting there in second, thinking, let me run that 18 car down and steal their thunder.
Yeah, right now, though, Butler's trying to run down your leader also. Butler going to go to the inside here on Cameron Hearn, and that's going to move him up the track. Max Terriot then will sneak in there and take the second position away from Hearn. I don't know if maybe Hearn was sleeping there on that little bit of a moment, but that will move Max Terriot now into the second position with the just now he's last time by quickest car inside your top 5.
Yeah, I don't think the pit stop is making Hearn feel any better because he was very close with Trevarthen on pit strategy, and maybe he's starting to second guess himself here on if he can make it or not. And when you're trying to hunt down the leader, the last thing you want to be thinking about is saving fuel.
That is for sure. Right now, Trevarthen, though, after that green flag pit cycle, finds himself now in the 10th position, 1 lap down as he's going to dive to the inside here on the 3rd place machine there of Cameron Hearn. So now he'll be trying to run down your leader to at least get back onto the lead lap because, well, he is in the chase. Where is your lowest driver running tonight here that is in the chase? Well, let me take a quick gander at it and tell you exactly where he is running. And that is going to be, so far, Tim Blum back in the 11th position here with the number 10 Classics Hot Sauce Ford machine. He is 11th, 1 lap down, and ever since his pit road penalty, he has just not been able to kind of regain the ground he has lost. Running the second lowest on the timing and scoring for your chase drivers, it'll be the driver of the 931. You saw the mistake, and sparks fly from that Eagle 1 forward out of turn number 2. He is running now 1 lap down behind Sean Butler, but he has 6-lap tires compared to 45-lap tires, so it looks like Trevarthen going to get around Butler, so put Butler back into the 9th position now as Trevarthen goes around him for 8th. And then it's going to be Richard Murdoch who runs in the 7th position, about a half a straightaway up on those two drivers, so Trevarthen has time to possibly snag away that 7th spot. Eric Johnson runs in the 5th position. He's just been having a quiet night, just running right there in the top 5. And then it's going to be the 22 of Todd Cray. He runs in that 4th spot. Then it's Max Terriot and, well, your leader who has got a lead around 2.3 seconds right now, and we're officially at the 10 to go marker. It'll be 9 laps to go here this time by for James Heater.
And an 11-second gap, that's pretty significant. But remember what I said at the beginning of the race about Eric Johnson when he was at Five Flag Speedway in the Xfinity cars. He conserved and he had clean tires at the end of the race. He is on the shortest run so far of the lead lap cars. He only has 34 laps on his tires here. So maybe he might be able to catch that 22 of Todd Cray and gain another spot here.
Yeah, you never know what will happen here at the little short track, as now this time by for James Heater. There will be 8 laps to go. Heater has found himself out front now for 19 laps tonight. 8 more times around this little 3/4 of a mile racetrack here from the Richmond Raceway. Now this time it will be 8 more rotations around this track here. Can he walk away and lock himself into the championship race from the Rockingham Speedway? Sure would be nice here, Mike, to lock yourself in here with only 1 race to go after this.
Most definitely. Andy widened up the gap right there on the second place car at Terriot. Here's your reference. Right now your leader is crossing stripe, and now your second place car, Terriel. That is the gap. So now you have that, how do you want to say, auditory indicator of how far that gap is. Because when you say 2.5 seconds, that could mean anything. But to actually be able to put it into perspective of when they're crossing the stripe, that's what changes it.
This time by, though, there you can see the distance as we zoom the camera out a little bit. It'll be 5 more laps. Flagmen throwing down 5 fingers. That means 5 laps to go here to the night to decide who's going to move on. Right now, your top 2 are in the championship hunt. There, as you see, Ira Kohlhaas go another lap down. Right now, the 929 Bromley Designs, all bucked up Chevrolet, running in that 13th spot. 2 laps down officially here for Ira Kohlhaas and that Chevrolet. And Max Terrialt's clock is starting to run out. It'll be 4 more laps to go here, and the gap is going to open up a little bit. It is almost at a 3-second deficit now, and this time by here for James Eater, it will be 3 more times around.
And you know, James Heater, I'm sure, appreciates class acts like that. Big Country, Kohlhaas, always a class act out there on the racetrack, and when you're a lap down and your leader's coming by, move up, give them their fast lane. You see so many people that want to just impede that and say, this is my track, and pull the old Newman. But I like to see people who understand the chase and understand what's on the line for these lead lap drivers as we go to 2 to go.
Popsicle sticks in the air officially here from the Richmond Raceway. That means it is under 2 miles. It is now officially under 1.5 miles left here. Could James Heater do it? The gap now has stayed the same for the last 2 laps. They ran identical lap times last time by. James Heater going to move up. You see Michael Trevarthen. He'll go back onto the lead lap. He will now be shown on the 7th spot, but this time by. It is 1 lap to go here from the Richmond Raceway, presented by Muth up here in the booth. As we got just about now, call it about a 1/2 mile left in this one. James Heater trying to punch his way into the final race of the season. Just got 2 corners between himself. As you see the 10 of Blum, he's just going to move up out of the way at this point. He knows there is nothing he can gain from this. Checkered flag in the air as he comes out of turn 4. James Heater going to punch his way into the next round of the playoffs. He will race for a championship here with the Red Light Scrambler Series. Max Terriel going to come home 2 seconds behind in the 42 Ford, and he finishes second. 3rd place here tonight goes to the Gamecocks 35 machine of Cameron Hearn. Todd Craig going to come home 4th. Eric Johnson rounds out the top 5. Kyle Souza, though, how about that, man? He comes home P number 6, and that was one of his best finishes here of the year. Michael Trevarthen going to battle back for a 7th place finish on the lead lap. Richard Murdoch comes home 8th. David Camara comes home 9th, and Sean Butler will round out the top 10 after a very long battle to come all the way back from the 21st position, 2 laps down after a speeding penalty there at the end of the race. So congratulations to the 18 here of James Heater, as he's going to burn them down here on the front stretch for us a little bit. And we will get to your post-race shows here tonight and see who we have that we can communicate with here before we head off into the sunset. Welcome back, race fans, here to the Richmond Raceway. It was round number 2, race number 1 for the chase, and, well, it looks like the 18 of James Heater will officially lock himself into the next round of the playoffs, so congratulations to the low-line racing Toyota Camry. Number 18 of James Heater, he will race in 2 weeks from the Rockingham Speedway for the championship with the Xfinity car. Yeah, so congratulations to him. We don't have communications established with the number 18 here tonight, so we can't hear what the man behind the wheel has to say, but I do have here in the booth with me the second place driver tonight. That'll be the 42 of Max Terriot. And Max, a second place finish doesn't feel so bad because there's only one race left here before the cutoff here for the championship.
The best of all, it was green flag all the way this week also, so couldn't ask for a better race overall.
Yeah, I went green to checker here. This is the second race. Technically, if you want to say it, it is the third official race here with the Red Light Series that went green to checkered in the last 2 weeks. But tell us about those long runs. How did the car react from the start of the run to the end of the run? Was it better to short pit and get those 4 fresh Goodyears?
I only short pitted because I couldn't go the distance with fuel. I don't manage my fuel that good, so it wasn't even a question of trying to stretch it for me. So that's the way I went early on, and I'm surprised not more tested this strategy there.
Yeah, so I mean, the strategy is going to work out for you either way you look at it, because a second place finish headed into ISM. Talk about ISM for a second here with us. It is a very tight 1 mile track out there in the Arizona desert.
It is tricky, and in the past races over there, I haven't performed that good, so I was really hoping for a win tonight, lock myself in, but we'll see with the new tire model how it behaves. It's much different than any other tracks that we've been before in the last few weeks, so I'm hoping that I can find a handle and have a good finish there also.
Yeah, that's only 1 week away, so you're going to have a lot of practice time with the 42 group and your Mustang out there. Actually, it looks like we're going to be taking the trucks out there. How do you feel about taking the trucks there?
Yeah, of all three, I think statistically that's my best one. It's just the way it is. Sometimes it fits my driving style, sometimes it doesn't, but we'll have to see. I know turn one has been very tricky for me. It's kind of a high bank compared to 3 and 4, and with the old setups, I could get loose without warning. So yeah, I'll need some practice, and hopefully we can go 3 races in a row green flag. That would be good.
Yeah, it would be absolutely amazing. Something that probably hasn't been done in a long time here in the iRacing platform. But Max, congratulations, P number 2 here tonight. Before we wrap this up, we're going to roll out the red carpet for you, hand you the microphone. Is there anybody you got to thank here for parking this 42 Ford Mustang on the podium tonight?
Yeah, my girlfriend, my friend Max, I met at Maxim Knitting watching. Cameron and Sean were way ahead of everyone else tonight. They really had the speed, and if it wasn't for that fuel strategy, they would have probably run away with it. Josh, James, and Richard were running the league. And everyone who's watching, I hope they enjoyed the last few races. It goes by much quicker, and it's much more satisfying.
Well, there you heard it from your second place finisher here tonight. Max Terriot leading a total of 26 laps, but got to come up just a little bit short here, about 2 seconds behind your winner of James Heater here tonight. But congratulations to that whole 42 camp. And I believe, though, that Mike, I believe you caught up with the third place finisher here tonight.
Yeah, I'm here with the driver of the 35 Toyota, Cameron Hearn. Hey, Cameron, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Tired.
I feel that. So you wanted to answer Luke Bryan's call and come in here and crash this party anytime for these Hunt drivers. Coming up in third place, great finish nonetheless. A long run there at the end. Were you fearing running out of fuel?
Yeah, I didn't even contemplate fuel strategy. I thought for sure you were gonna have a caution, but with these guys, got a lot of good drivers in this league, so it doesn't really surprise me they went caution free. The first run, I ran at all this worth and had a good, decent lead and stuff, and then I was like, oh crap, people are saving fuel, they can make it. So then I was kind of in limbo. Max was talking about how he short pitted, and I should have done that strategy, but then I tried to save fuel the whole rest of the race, and I actually ran out of fuel the last pit stop on pit lane, so I kind of coasted my pit stall, but definitely strategy comes into play, but also you got to be able to drive the car.
Exactly. There's no replacement for skill. So when you were out there, we saw it getting a little tight on exit. Did the tire wear, was that faster than what you were expecting, or was it right on par?
Yeah, the tire wear was actually what I expected. The issue was I was clutching the car so much in turns, and it was kind of making it push up more when you let off the clutch, get back on the throttle. So that was something I'm really not practicing. It's hard to save fuel. You want to go fast. So that was one of the things that I was learning as I went, where to clutch that, where to let off, and how to ease back in the throttle.
Definitely. Driver mentality here on this side of the mic too. So I totally understand the not wanting to let off of the throttle at all. But what do you think for next week? Are you gonna come in and try and crash him at ISM also, or will we see you out there on the track?
Yeah, I'll be here next week. I got a more forgiving work schedule finally. So I love these Richmond Phoenix. I feel like they're very similar, as you have to have your braking points, and where consistency, I think, plays a huge effect on it. So hopefully doesn't come in any fuel strategy and stuff, or maybe I need to do some longer runs in practice. But I'm excited about Phoenix. There's a lot of great guys, and one of those things, top 5 with this league would be an accomplishment.
Most definitely. So awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing you out there next week at ISM, but I want to hand over the microphone to you. Is there anybody you want to thank out there for putting this 35 Toyota Camry on the podium?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Red Light Racing for Josh letting me run. I ran a few years ago with them on and off, as my schedule never really gelled, so I appreciate him letting me run tonight. You guys at Turn 3 Broadcast do a great job. I thank my wife watching, my dad watching, but also these guys that are out here week in and week out. I appreciate them showing up, and I look to contribute just like those guys have.
All right, great to hear it. A family man and a racing man all in one. So, well, Roger, looks like those are our top 3 finishers for this first race in the second round of the chase.
Yeah, you heard from 2 out of the 3 podium finishers here tonight. James Heater, though, locking himself into the championship race coming up here in just 2 weeks' time here for the Red Light Scrambler Series. That will be from the Rockingham Speedway with the Xfinity car. And boy, what a doozy that's going to be, considering that the Xfinity car has had some issues. But there's a hot fix coming tomorrow from the iRacing.com server. So that's good to hear. Max Terriot finishing P2 here tonight, and you heard from Cameron Hearn, a very strong run here for the driver of that Gamecocks, number 35 here tonight. He'll be back again, you heard it, to possibly crash the party from the ISM Raceway with the Gander Outdoor Truck Series. Well, that's going to about do it here from the Turn 3 Racing Studios. Mike, we got to thank you from Bromley Design stepping up here, joining us in the booth here on a Monday night. So we thanks for all your insights from the driver's perspective, and also crying a little bit about some of the paint schemes that got into the outside wall. I know as a painter that kind of hurts you. But congratulations once again to James Heater for winning tonight. This isn't the only red light race this week. Well, that's right, Muth in the booth got a brand new computer. We're going to have to throw it to the test all week long here. So catch us Friday night as the SK modified side of things here for the Red Light Series heads over to the Las Vegas Bull Ring. Same time, just Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. We will see you out there.